All right, so it's 9:30 and we're all here. Let's go ahead and get started. How does the agenda look to everyone? Do we have any changes or a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Jeff,
I second.
and Cindy second, or Candy second, and all in favor? And that's unanimous, thank you. Okay, we'll move on to the minutes. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? Great job, Candy. And any other?
Thanks for doing it.
Yes, yes. You're done now. Yay.
I was going, woo-hoo-hoo-hoo.
You're celebrating.
And
I'm just saying, oh man.
But you did a great job with retreat minutes, Cindy. So
Oh.
I mean, yeah. So, but any changes? Are we? Any other anything for these minutes? Do we have a motion to approve these minutes?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Julie.
Second.
And Jeff, thank you. And all approve. Yes, in favor. That's unanimous, so we're good. I'll move along to no public is here, so we can move past public invited to be heard. That's done. Let's go to old business and the digitized scrapbook. So, update, I did reach out to Sergio. He told me he's available to meet next Tuesday, Thursday, or Friday. Generally pretty flexible.
Okay.
So with that, I also reached out to Elizabeth at the museum. She said for her to be here in person, she could only be here on Friday, and it'd be like after 11:30.
Okay.
But otherwise, she'd be happy to submit her questions and thoughts to us in advance, so that we would have them and be able to share them in the group, and then with Sergio, and then get responses back to her so she's informed. So what I wanted to check with you all about is, Jeff, you're our historian, and you're taking the lead on this going forward. I'm just kind of bridging the gap so that we have this nice transition. How is Tuesday, Thursday, or Friday for a meeting of the house?
Tuesday.
Are we talking about next week? or-
Next week, the 17th, 19th, and
Thursday is available to meet downstairs, and that's it.
okay.
Okay.
Unless you guys want to meet like at LPM or at the museum, and that way Elizabeth could also be involved, or
I think
look at the following week. If it's,
It's okay.
I don't know how
It's
pertinent
okay.
it is for.
it'd be nice to have it here. That way, the scrapbook's actually here too, so don't have to take the scrapbook from the house. So let's go with the Tuesday. What times are available?
Any, it just has to be downstairs.
Downstairs. All right.
Tuesday or Thursday?
Oh, I'm sorry, Thursday.
Oh.
Thank you.
Thursday. Okay. Thursday. Thursday the 19th. And what time, Jeff?
I'm okay during the day. I'm open.
Okay. Do you have a preference?
No.
How's everyone else for a time? Anyone who's wanting to participate in this. This doesn't require everyone, of course, but it's
No.
just anyone who's interested in participating in this.
Yeah, I've got two things going from 10 to 11:30 and then 2 to 4:30. So maybe I just won't go. It doesn't leave much time,
Okay.
so.
Okay. And Julie, are you interested in participating? I'm just checking because I don't want to exclude anyone. No pressure. It's fine if you don't. For now.
Yeah, not this time.
Okay. All right. So, Candy. Okay. So, Jeff, time best for you?
In the morning sometime. Yeah.
Okay. Is
9:30. Does that work for you guys? For you?
9:30?
Yeah. Let's do that.
9:30. All right.
You know what? Actually, sorry. So the group that's coming in to use this space is going to be here at 9:30.
Okay.
So, and I need to set up before that. So can we do maybe like 10, just so I can make sure to get them set up and situated and.
Absolutely.
So 10 o'clock?
It's 10, okay.
That's fine,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Both things are coming in at the same time. Could be a little.
Okay, great.
And that'll be with
Can-
Sergio, correct?
Yes.
I mean,
Who is Sergio?
Sergio is with Longmont Public Media,
Okay.
and he's our contact regarding the filming and photography of the scrapbooks.
Okay. And Joe and Elizabeth, are they the museum?
Elizabeth, who else did you say?
Was there a Joe?
No,
Okay.
only
Maybe that was
Elizabeth.
her,
That's
Sergio.
the museum, the curator of history
Okay.
at the Longmont Museum.
Okay.
And she is who helps to determine how to archive and do things for the museum's archives.
Okay.
And we're working with her so that as our objective is to submit the physical scrapbooks to them for to put into the museum archives once we're complete with this project. In the process of us capturing things electronically, she wants to be included to the point that she understands how they're going to do it, how the content will be accessible, what software she would need if anything different than what she has, and generally some ideas like that. And, for example, they call them OCR. If you're able to go in and type in a search bar for something specific, will they have that kind of application applied to whatever content and media we're using, the video and the photography. So if she's able to, because that's what she does right now, type in a search term or something, and then it'll pull up all sorts of references, including books and pages and things. And she wants to know if that's going to be something that's accessible for the museum to use.
for the digital museum archives.
For that too, yeah.
And then is the purpose, like, are we still planning to do PDFs of these for the Callahan site, or use the museum archives digital as the digital reference for this?
No, we still want to have the Callahan site have the content. It's really the first point of how do you get more information? Go to the Callahan House site on Longmont's website. But when they're archiving things there at the museum, they want to be able to do that kind of a pull or a search as needed. And so-
Access.
for access, for content.
Just in their database?
Yeah.
Okay. And so they're wondering if LPM needs to provide something for that, or?
Wondering how they're going to electronically store, what kind of file, what file types they're going to have. TIFFs versus, PDFs versus JPEGs versus.
Because they're planning to
images.
use LPM's digital output to put into their database?
They'll want to be able to access whatever content LPM puts together, so that when things are archived at the museum, they can quickly do their search as needed. It's not a required thing.
I think-
It's something that she wants to be able to do. And
It sounds like
we
if you're
just
gonna
need
go
to know
through
on the front
all
side
the
of
process
things.
to digitize it,
Mhm.
Elizabeth might be like, okay, well, if you're gonna save everything in PDF, that's gonna be helpful for me to know if it does sync with our software or it doesn't. And if it doesn't, is there a different way we can do this so that it helps both people, I think is kind of what.
Was she told that it's gonna be a PDF?
No, nothing is decided. So that's just it. It's because everything is unknown at this point. It's a matter of, okay, let's
I don't
talk
think
about.
that's unknown, that it's gonna be a PDF format for the digital access for the Callahan part of the website.
I don't know what she knows or does not know. I don't know actually all of, and I've been,
Yeah, you guys have met with her on this.
So, but
I
I don't-
haven't been
I
involved
don't-
with her other than when I went into Scan
Yeah.
over a year ago. No.
Well, that sounds like
I
a
just
good
know that-
topic to talk about next week.
yes, I was going to say,
But
I
if she's
just
not
know
gonna
that
be there, then what is the
if
agenda
need-
for this meeting?
if need be, it will be to go through any questions. But if need be, she could probably be on the phone with us remote, because she's just going to have something going on that she's got to be present there at the museum for. So
And she said she'd give you
yes,
some questions
she-
to ask,
yes,
so.
yes. So So we're just trying to work with them.
Yeah, what was the main purpose of this meeting for Sergio and Elizabeth to connect to get questions answered?
And
I just want to make sure we're being really mindful of Sergio's time because
it's going to be pretty limited, short and sweet, but it is necessary. Jeff is now going to be leading as historian. We're going to talk through some more about, okay, what are we doing? Are we just taking images, or are we taking video, or are we taking both? And how is that going to apply? Can we do voiceover with a video, or voiceover with just
we've
images?
talked about
we
all
did
this
talk
and
a
kind of
little
have
bit
plan
about
for
that, but we're not completely through.
It sounds like we're going a little bit back to square one because there's somebody new, and there hasn't been much movement in this project last year from what we've seen. So,
Okay. So if we're going to do that, then we need to make sure that we're keeping the ball rolling on this project because there's not been movement on it for over a year. So yeah,
The last movement
because we're
was
working
in
with a third
October
party,
last
we
year.
just need to make
Yeah.
sure that
The last activity was in October of last year.
it sounds like we're kind of rehashing what that was. So
I want to get this done as much as you do, probably more. So my goal is that if we can get it done this year, I'd make me really happy.
great.
So,
The other thing I want to, I guess, remind or redirect on that is, February of last year, this committee was provided the guidance to put together alt text for the first scrapbook, and I think it was mostly done, other than having to reorder some of it because
we chose not the most simple
provided-
format, but a mixture between the medium and the more complicated formats. There were three.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the alt text for the PDFs to make them ADA.
Okay.
So that was where this started, and the PDFs, not the video necessarily, because remember, the PDFs are the first part of it, and then in our efforts to make them as accessible as possible, the video that LPM is helping with was the other piece, and that's kind of taken the forefront here, which is great. All of it needs to get done, but the PDFs could have been on the website for nearly a year now, but if we can redirect back, or at least at the same time as this is going on, to get the alt text done, then the PDFs can be online, and the video is kind of secondary, and then archiving for the museum is the final process, although of course it's good to make sure we're on that correct route at the same time, instead of having to backtrack. But I just want to put out that reminder that the PDFs were kind of the original piece, and we're just waiting on alt text from the committee for that. So
you have all the PDFs.
for the first scrapbook,
Yeah.
yeah. So that was, and it, I think, one of the first committee meetings for this back in last February, or those were first provided in February, and then there was some misunderstanding about how that was supposed to be done, and so I think it just needed to get reordered slightly, and then that just never happened. So I just want to make sure we're working on that too, because that piece could be done pretty quickly, and that's just an in-house piece, like not involving LPM or the museum right now.
Okay.
So
You can be part of the meeting.
yes,
That we're okay.
yeah.
That will be helpful.
And if you can put together just even a simple agenda for that meeting, I just want to make sure that we're staying on track for that, and just making sure it's like I said, valuing LPM's time more than anything, because we've had this meeting with him a couple times now, and
I've only met with Sergio once. I've only met him once, and that
Okay,
was.
but it sounds like this is kind of a.
But that's.
I understand the need
that's
to
not been-
revisit this meeting, but we're kind of revisiting the same meeting. So
What about the process of moving on to the second scrapbook, of getting those PDFs?
yeah, we can.
Well, before we move on to anything, scrapbooks actually need to be properly labeled. So that's part of why I did go ahead and provide you with the three things that we would like. That's
Yeah,
two
and
white
I
pencils, two black
need some more
pencils,
specifics on
and
those.
the polyester
So,
sheets.
If
They
somebody
are
can go
links.
through and
There are links in Elizabeth's email to
Okay.
us, And so if you go down further in that email that I forwarded to you,
Perfect.
and you click on that, you will see exactly what I'm talking
Okay,
about.
perfect.
Two
So just
white pencils,
directly
two black
those
pencils,
links.
there's polyester, there's poly.
Yeah, I
everything.
saw the list.
Yep,
Okay.
that's it. That's what we need.
Okay.
So before we can move forward with photographing anything, we have to properly label the pages. I think that's something that was overlooked previously. So that's
does-
why Maureen and I went and met with Elizabeth in the fall.
Do the
and said,
original scans need to be redone for the
Yes.
first one then? Okay, I'm gonna understand that better then as well.
Everything has to be labeled. In archiving, you have to number, label things. You have, in order for reference in future. Otherwise, the purpose of taking the photos or any video is moot.
I can see that. That makes sense.
So,
It's like a library book. It has
So
to
we're-
remember.
so we're kind of starting from square one.
Okay.
So we're going to move rapidly.
Do you need
Great.
to set a meeting for
Glad to hear
that.
that.
process, or do you want to wait until Brittany purchases the supplies?
As long as she
think-
purchases the supplies, as soon as we got that, then we
You
can
guys can
be
figure it-
working
okay.
on,
Sure.
on scheduling and getting that done,
Yeah.
in between. It
Mhm.
doesn't need to be drawn out.
Yeah.
We can move quickly.
Do we still want to go, the original plan was to kind of complete the process with one scrapbook minus the like actual archive submission at that point, because I know they
Right.
want those all together, but
Right.
do we still want to kind of do that? Or I guess we can get it to the point where LPM is working with the video piece and then scanning for the next book could begin, because we want to get those done either way, so. But getting this one at least to the point of where LPM is working on the video and then starting with the second one. If that makes sense.
I think that's a good goal. I
Okay.
think that's realistic. Yeah.
Cool. Great.
Okay. All right. Let's see, and I anticipate that meeting really only being about an hour. And so, are you able to be there for the full time?
Yeah.
Okay, that will be helpful. All right. Okay, then we'll move on to, no other discussion about digitized scrapbook. No questions, right? Okay. Patrons of the Callahan House, what we discussed we did quite a bit of work at our retreat, which is great, and all of that's captured in the minutes that Cindy put together, and they're lovely. They're absolutely wonderful. So I'm not going to rehash all of that, but all that detail is in the minutes. We'll get to that later in this agenda. But what we need to do for now, just to be moving forward as we've planned, is to go ahead and set a committee meeting for after the 16th. And the reason is that everybody is to bring or to email their list to me on the 16th, on or by the 16th. And thereafter I can compile the list and we will visit and go through everything. So after 16th, what is available here at the house for us to meet?
How long do you need to meet for?
I think this is going to be a lengthy one because it is a final go through of everything and anyone who knows anyone on the list. So 2 hours.
So it can be after the 16th, right? It doesn't have to be on.
Right, no, and preferably after the 16th, because I'm giving everyone until the 16th, anytime on the 16th, and then I'm going to compile everything into the master list, so preferably,
The 24th is good, if that,
okay,
between 9:30 and 12:30. That works for everybody, otherwise we can keep looking.
that can work.
Okay.
That doesn't work for me.
No, that don't work for you?
24th is not good for me.
Okay.
Earlier in the day would work.
I'm not available in the
Much
morning.
later.
Okay. All right, what else is
The
there?
26th, starting at 11:30.
That would work
I
for
could
me.
do that.
26th at 11:30.
Okay.
Yes, let's do that then. Jeff, that good for you?
Yes.
To 26 at 11:30. 2 hours. Okay.
So Karen, it would be helpful, I feel, for each of us to be able to see the master list
Yes.
after you've collected it.
Yes.
And then we should go through and weed out, not necessarily individually, but look at the names and say, this is probably not a good candidate, or
Yes.
let's not do this one, or let's add this, or whatever, so.
You're right.
If we had that ahead of time.
Yep, you're right you're in my mind. That's exactly what I'm thinking, because I want to get that list compiled and get that all out to everybody so everyone can see it and
Okay.
have it before. Yes. So I will, as soon as I have all of that compiled, after everybody's put that in on the 16th, then I will get that out within the next day or two at the most to everybody. So we will have that in plenty of time between then and the 26th.
And how long do you want to allow for that meeting on the 26th?
2 hours.
2 hours.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And that's all we really need to talk about for patrons at this point. We'll talk more next month. Then with restoration and preservation, we'll move on to that item. It's one thing that I'd like us to sort of narrow down on is which projects are we planning to present to our potential patrons. And so the focus on what's next is not to hurry up and get busy doing something else. It's what are we focusing on so we can say to our patrons, this is our goal. This is what we're doing next. Here's about the cost range we're looking at. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, I would say the most impactful ones, the dining table obviously is already in the works and money has already been raised for some of that, but certainly showing here's what we have done recently. So I'd certainly include that, and then probably the fountain would be the next most impactful one.
And I know that it's kind of a, well, does it need to be not is a question, but
Needs to be done.
not the fountain.
Oh, the repoint.
The repointer. So that's why I'm asking, can we go ahead and get some advice, get some input from a few different experts from the past, because we've had some, from the past, but that's been a while. So let's get some new experts to give us some ideas about their thoughts about the repointing.
Well,
If it's needed,
yeah,
if
I
in
mean, and
part
that was
or
just this
full.
last year. We had three people come out. We've got the quote still from Empire and 2 others that
in 2025?
have provided some information that
Okay.
that they didn't feel that it needed to be done. So, not that we can't still continue to pursue that, but I would like to
Gives us-
focus on the other items that are currently going on right now before
Definitely.
we
I'm just thinking
revisit that, especially with all of the issues that there are in finding bids. But that said, I mean, that's something we could put on BidNet, but the fountain is in
Right.
the works for that right now, so I think let's
Knowing
focus
the
on those
fountain,
things.
yes, and the fountain is priority, and of course that would be the first thing.
Mhm.
But knowing that is going to range maybe around 15,000.
I think it was like 13.9
I'm-
is the one
I'm-
quote that we've
I'm
gotten
going
so
a little
far.
higher,
Yeah.
right? That's still in my mind small. So we've got a $15,000 project. Then we might have,
The
whatever
repointing was
other
about
two
that
to three
amount as well.
Hmm?
The repointing wasn't much more than that.
Okay, so 2 to 3 projects like that is probably going to be more valuable to present, more motivating for people to say, oh, yeah, you have some serious projects and some serious expense with those coming up.
I mean, there's
leads
potentially
people
enough
to
information
lean
for
in
the
a little more.
repointing right now if the goal is to show it as part of.
What else is on your
Patrons,
list? Are you asking
but-
what else there might be that is in that big ticket item?
I'm
dollar
asking
amount? Yeah.
that and just for us to decide, what 2 to 3 projects.
Sure.
We can say, hey, we have this, the fountain, we have that, this at this amount, we have
That makes sense. I
this.
mean, these are people who are willing to donate money, so you're saying your money is and will go to help these big projects that we have
Yeah.
planned, given that we have
All the information
spent a
is
lot of
available
money.
for that. So.
Okay, so we've got, fountain is one.
The tile I think was 7 something. Was it that much?
No.
But I mean, there's always projects. There's no shortage of projects
Yeah,
going
no.
on or in the future that we have some information for. So
I'm thinking significant. The tile is that is going to be cleaned. That makes sense, right? But I'm thinking
Maybe we don't have one
restoration
right now.
fountain
Maybe
is
we don't have another big
definitely,
one.
but
Yeah, I mean-
repointing probably, because I mean those are things
Potentially,
that people
I mean-
can. Those are things people can actually even walk around and see. So it's even more moving. So I would say fountain, repointing, and what other item on the restoration and preservation our list is significant enough that's noteworthy to say we have this coming up too.
I think you could also maybe, if you don't have one coming up, you could say the fencing and the project and the money that went into the fencing. Or like, you know, if we don't have another one besides the fountain and the repointing, that is a dollar amount that sounds significant, and you can present some other things like the furniture, that's a big one, or I don't know what the fencing cost you after all of that, but you know what I mean? Of like, donations to the house have helped support these projects. These are some we're looking forward to give them a perspective of things that they can't see if we don't have another, we need a new roof on the building or something like that.
Could we estimate the cost of the garden landscaping and trees and say this is a multi-year project that's going to cost somewhere around this much?
well, that's what I was just gonna say. We're kind of getting to the fountain or to the garden, but we'll have something for that.
At
Some
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 point,
point,
but
it's
not
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 next
next week.
The only drawback there is that it's not so much of a historic preservation. Yes and no. It's landscape. Not
Yeah,
everyone
but
might
it's supposed to
find that
restore it
as
to the
historic.
Italian garden.
Yes, that's why it's yes and no.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, you're walking a fine line.
I mean, I
there.
think
It's-
that's
it's
valuable
something-
to include.
It's valuable.
It's money that we need for special projects
Yeah.
to, you
Yeah.
know, work on the property. So, I mean, yeah, in a nutshell, there's always something going on. There's going to be information that can be shared. And also the list, like the restoration preservation list that is a living document, whether or not we have quotes for all of that, is still valuable information for people to see everything that needs to be done.
There may be
I have
somebody
a-
that says, I want to do that and
Great.
donates the money if they've seen the list.
That's
Yeah.
just it. We don't share the list with the public. That's part of the problem. That's why
The list
us
is publicly
choosing.
shared. It's part of the.
Okay,
it's
but
part
what
of
I'm
the
saying is
annual
it's not
reports,
something
it's
we.
part of the packets. It can certainly be shared with patrons.
When are we, when you're talking about sharing this with the patrons, when is that?
Well, all along, as soon as we start to put those letters out to the companies, if we're getting contact back and they're asking, what are you working on? We need to be prepared to answer. We have these kind of few things coming up.
So is the intent to present this information to patrons who are already committed to be a patron?
No. It's for anyone who's deciding whether.
Oh, okay, I want to get clarification on that.
So your intention is to put together a letter that you're sending out to this master list to invite people to be patrons, and these are some of the things that your donation would support?
We already have the letter,
Mhm.
that's already prepared. But what we don't have is backing up what specifically we're focusing on in the coming months. It's not
Like an
written anywhere.
attachment.
I don't even know if we would we might want to put it in an attachment, because then that way it is something that they would be black and white, be able to see. But it's definitely something we should at least know, so that if a potential patron is contacting us and saying, well, what do you have going on? What is it that it's needing?
I mean, we can just share that information proactively. There's, like I said, that information is known. We've been talking about it. It's available. We have the list of
Well,
future
I
items.
think it's
I
also hard to
that,
commit to something,
you know,
like the
has to be
fountain is,
pivoted.
we are wanting this fountain to be done, but we're at the mercy of someone to fix it. So if someone were to donate and say, I want this to go towards the fountain, and then the fountain can't happen for 3 more years because of whatever, that's really hard too, I would imagine.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, we can definitely explain it that way. We can say, these are things we're working on, and depending on finding
Yeah,
experts
I
to
guess
do
I
it
don't-
or whatever,
I
but,
don't really
but just,
understand
I
the
mean, presenting, I mean,
issue.
attaching our spreadsheet to our letter,
I'm not saying you
probably a
have to
no,
attach
right?
that.
Yeah.
exactly,
So,
but
but
the
being a
information
little
is
more
available,
polished and
we're all
prepared.
aware of it. I can provide you any, details that you feel like are missing to put that into something more comprehensive that could be shared proactively in a letter to these folks. Like, for example, these are the things that got done last year, these are things in the works right now, these are the things we have coming up this year, and, another list of several things that need to get done over time. There's always no shortage of
And
projects.
when do you suggest to share that information?
I would say do it more proactively as you're reaching out to people, like, here's what we do here. Here are our needs, here's why we're reaching out to you, rather than having them come back and say, what do you need?
So putting
Great.
it in the
So
letter.
let's-
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's great. I think that's good.
Okay,
And
so.
So third or second attachment of, beyond the letter.
Beyond
Don't
the
redo
letter.
the letter.
Don't redo the letter is great. Just include, upcoming restoration preservation projects, kind of a list.
And examples of what we've done in the past. What's been
Yeah.
done in the
So on that
past.
list, we'll include the fountain, repointing. I
You
mean,
can-
all,
whatever
I was just gonna
you
say,
want to
whatever we wanna,
include.
so whatever we wanna kinda pick and choose to highlight, because we're not gonna include the whole list.
Right.
Okay, so that's my point. Let's pick and choose some highlights of what things are we looking
Sure.
to
Right.
do, and then
But
we
I
need to
can't,
kinda
I
have an
can't tell
idea
you
of the
what
ballpark of
the next project is right now.
Right, right.
So you can highlight
Right.
some things that have been done, that are in the works and that need to be done as examples.
Yeah,
Mhm.
But we're not making any promises about what the next project is going to be, so.
to be clear, I'm not promising, I don't expect to promise any specific anything.
So do
But
you
we
just want
just
some
need to
input from
give
the
people
board
an
to say-
understanding of what it is that we're
Projects.
going to be working
Yeah.
on, what the cost range is gonna be. If you don't give them some information like
Sure.
that, they're less
Sure.
inclined to be like, yeah, let me write you
I
a
agree, so
$5,000
yeah, we
check.
can provide that information.
Yeah. So-
We're not necessarily gonna have a quote available for everything on that list, so.
So are we
if you
going to
wanna
include an
pick some
estimated
things and-
value of that work?
That's
Each of those
my,
things.
that's my point. We do
Right.
need
Each
to
of which
kind of have a.
Well, the main things,
approximate-
fountain, repointing, what the,
Yeah, those already are,
So do we want?
that information is already available for all those things that are,
Right,
Yes.
but do we want to include that in
Mhm.
this letter?
Yes, that's
Or
the
pick
point.
3 or 4?
You're choosing,
Projects.
highlight big 3 or 4 projects and saying, these are upcoming and that we're working toward. And then you're including a dollar range, saying it's approximately in this range,
Mhm.
so that the donors have an understanding of how much we're really going for.
Right.
That's what.
So we're gonna talk
we're
about
trying-
that
that's
more
what
at the
we-
meeting.
We need.
You will
Yes,
talk about
and all
more
of
of that in
that.
the meeting.
Okay.
is available, so,
Just a question, we talked about the fountain and repointing for a while.
yeah.
If the patrons were not a part of that, where would that funding be coming from for those projects?
Yeah, it depends, PBF, CIP,
Okay, so they haven't really been officially funded yet?
well, they haven't been paid for yet, no.
Okay.
Until completion of the project is when that stuff gets paid for. But like, those types of things that we've done in the past have mostly historically come out of PBF 145.
So as an example, the fountain, if we're advertising we need funds for the fountain, are funds already available to pay for the fountain?
Technically, yes, we
Yeah.
have them in the Callahan House Fund.
So,
So
yeah, I wouldn't necessarily like discuss city funding with
Right. I just thought we
in
did.
this letter.
but that's
I would
public.
just say like, we still, well, that's
So-
fine.
But
I
are you
mean,
saying you
we're not
don't want to
presenting
feel icky
ourselves
of
as a
asking people for money
nonprofit.
that's something already
Right,
funded?
exactly. I
You're
want
right.
to deceive the potential donors if funding is already,
I mean,
But
there's
also-
also some
available
funding
for it.
available for these types of projects, but of course,
If somebody gives us money, then that's less of,
okay.
Mhm.
yeah. I
Something
mean, we're
else
not,
can
like,
get
we're not
done.
trying to present ourselves as a nonprofit, that's not the situation, but
and there is limited money in PBF 145.
Yeah.
So if Brittany only has 10,000 for the year and the fountain costs 10,000, then no more projects can come out of
Yeah.
PBF 145 for the year, and then then we would be asking for money for other things because that fund
yeah,
is.
fundraising is still always very needed because there's always a restoration project going on.
Right.
So
And we
it's
did
not
use
that
a
we don't
March.
need the money,
Right, oh, I understand that, but if we're,
but it's also not that we can't function
Right.
without it.
but if
So-
we're apparently asking money for a particular project like the fountain, someone donates the fountain,
See,
that-
that's
This is the same thing with
about
Maureen giving money for the furniture.
Yeah.
It doesn't, their check doesn't get received and then that money, cash used. It doesn't work that way within the city government.
Yeah, any money that we would receive from patrons would go into the donation fund, which is specifically allocated for restoration and preservation projects and has to be put into any fund, you know, for us to use it. So that money would be specific to restoration and preservation, but we can't specifically allocate it to a certain project.
Okay.
So I wouldn't probably present it that way. I
Or
would just
how
say,
about the
here are
questions
the
funding?
well, that's what we're saying, is that
Oh.
money is just going into that. Like, they are doing it for the purpose of the dining table, but we're
Uh-huh.
not handing that money directly
Right,
to Dan.
okay.
Like, it goes back into our fund to replenish restoration and preservation. So I wouldn't present, like, you can sponsor this specific project. I would just say, here's what needs to be done.
That's
And it
very
goes
good to
into
know,
a
yeah.
general,
Yes, we're not-
general fund
Yeah.
and
Yes.
it helps support these projects going forward.
Yeah, I mean, it goes into a very specific fund that can only be used for restoration and preservation. I would,
Oh, okay.
you could focus on
That-
that,
That's the point.
Yeah.
that
that's
money
what I
has to be, you know,
But your
Used
money
for
will go
those
specifically
things.
Yes.
towards a restoration preservation
Yeah,
exactly.
project.
yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
go towards operations, but.
Yeah.
So could we have it as a written statement that we have that if someone asks, that we can literally
I think it's on
show
the
them that
donation,
or tell them exactly where the money be going?
right, isn't it
It
on your
won't be
website?
going to the fountain fund, but it'll be going to the,
Restoration and
Okay.
preservation.
so it'd
Yeah.
be good to have
I
that.
would just say, like, your money
all
would go
the-
towards restoration and preservation.
Yes,
Here's
all
some
donations.
examples of what we do towards
Yeah.
restoration
Yes.
So we
and
could have a
preservation of
statement
this
on that, so
property.
we can
That's
share
exactly-
that if we get to the point with a particular.
Yeah, I would add
That's
that to your
Yes,
like,
that's
amendment or
exactly.
whatever.
As opposed to us just kind of verbally trying to remember what we talked about
Yes, no,
a
that's-
few months ago.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
That
good.
would be included, what I would suggest we do, and that kind of a statement would be included on the list of projects that they're working on list. So
Okay.
you see, it gives them an understanding of what's being done and how much it's gonna cost, but generally, this is how
You'll
it
see
works.
the money was good.
The
to-
money goes into the
Perfect.
restoration and preservation to help
Good.
fund these projects.
These are
That's-
examples of projects that have
Yes.
been done recently,
Yes.
that we're working on now, and that we expect to work on in the
But
future.
that clarifies the process
Yeah.
quite a
Okay.
bit.
So we will touch base on that in part of the patrons meeting, because I know that we've got a good 2-hour chunk that we're going to get that list complete in, but we will also at that time create that extra one-page document which has the list and all of that information and the explanation on it, so that that can be included in the communication that's going out to the people on this list.
So you need
Need about
the quote
approximate-
amounts
Yeah.
for the current projects
Need-
that we know.
Need highs
And I can
lows.
provide one for CIP, the last quote that we
Perfect.
got, but I don't think we're gonna pursue a new one for that, or for the repointing, rather, right now for this purpose.
Sounds great.
Okay.
Okay. Otherwise, do we have any update? I'm sure everything is going well with the furniture restoration.
Yeah, Dan is cruising right along. One moment. He did confirm that he's going to add, in terms of the casters for the dining table, he's gonna keep those original, restore what's there, but add leather to the bottom of those to help protect the floor. That was his
Oh,
suggestion
nice.
for the best
Excellent idea.
plan for those. So that's the plan for that. We're still moving forward with the felt for the chairs, and everything else we've talked about. I reached out to Deep Root on Monday to check back in about the schedule, and they said they would get me something before our meeting today, but I haven't heard, unfortunately. So still just waiting to get them to get on their schedule for the sconce and the tile. Dan did provide a quote for the repair. Dan from Memory Lane that's doing the table provided a quote for the repair, the spot repair of the center of the dining floor, which we're going to move forward with. So it's also just a matter of when he can get that done, but he wants to do it at the end of the tables and chairs project, but obviously before those get brought back. So he's going to move forward with that.
That's
Still
wonderful.
can't get anybody to come and deep clean and wax the parquet. I don't know why it's so crazy, but in the meantime, we can continue to get custodials help with that now that that's been confirmed that they can help
That
with
they
that.
actually do that, yes.
But theirs isn't quite, as in-depth as like, it
Right,
would
of
be to have a
course.
floor specialist come out, but it is helpful.
Right.
So I'd still like to have somebody come out and get like back to kind of a baseline with that, with deep clean and wax, and then have custodial keep it up. You know, I mean, it's probably something we would do every couple years, like with the
On
carpets and those kind of things, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. On the
So-
flooring, I'm not sure if this is really appropriate, but I want to share it. I know a gentleman out in Mead who he's a craftsman, does a lot of millwork, furniture work, building. He's very knowledgeable in finishes. And he said he's not a floor person, has done some floors, but he's very knowledgeable in the finishes.
Great,
And he offered to come out and meet and look at the floors and make some suggestions.
great,
If it's something that might want to.
yes, because I
Okay.
think I've had, I don't even know, 6 or 8 people that I've contacted. Some have come out and then we get ghosted, or they don't actually do what they came out to give us a quote for, or I just never hear back from them in the first
Okay.
place. So, yeah.
So again, I'm not sure if he's not a floor.
Well, neither is
per-
Dan, technically, but he's.
But he's
it's
very
the same-
knowledgeable in finishing.
Yeah,
Wood
it's the
and
same.
finishing.
Okay.
Wood
What is he
finishing,
saying?
so.
He does. He's a person. He's a real craftsman. He does a lot of woodwork, millwork,
Wow.
cabinetry, and he does metal work. He just does a lot. He's extremely creative.
And would
Well,
he
and
be interested, or you think he might potentially have some information about like the deep clean and the,
Potentially, yes.
and
yes.
this like resealing, wax, whatever, okay.
It's always good to get advice, so yeah. Can
Yeah.
you-
So
can
he
you
offered to
put-
come out and meet with us.
That'd be great, yeah, if
Can you
you
get in
wanna
touch with-
send me his information or connect us on email, however you wanna do that,
Okay.
but that'd be
Yeah,
great.
he's generally available as Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays.
Okay,
So if you got a half hour or something,
We can make that work.
now we can meet with him.
okay.
Again, I'm not sure where that will go, but
Yeah.
I really respect his.
Well, I
His
even just
knowledge.
another opinion, if it's not even something that he can help with, because we've had such a wide range of varying opinions on how that should go. So,
Okay.
yeah, that'd be great if you know somebody.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Oh, just there's an exception. I'm sorry.
This is for the floor.
Yeah.
I'm curious,
Oh.
what is Dan planning to do for the floor?
I can't remember off the top of my head. Yeah, we just looked at it.
Yeah.
Like,
And he
should-
might even refinish it.
Possibly. But
He
he's
needs to
very
look at
knowledgeable.
everything.
Right. He's very knowledgeable on materials and various finishes and stains and
Yeah.
products.
Okay.
So I think he's given an
Did he give
opinion
a
on
date or was it just
what
the
he
money?
would suggest.
Yeah.
Just the amount, he wanted,
Okay.
oh, okay, yeah,
Fair enough.
it's $575
Yeah.
is his initial estimate, full job not to exceed $775. So,
Wow.
totally reasonable to just move
Yeah.
forward with that.
Absolutely reasonable.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Quote for Dan to refinish that spot in the floor is
Okay.
$575, estimate not to exceed $775. So we went ahead and just, yes, we'll move forward with that.
Yeah.
So I just am waiting to hear back from him when he wants to come do that. But he had said
He wants-
initially that he wants to wait until the,
Furniture's done.
yeah,
Yeah.
one thing at a time,
Yeah.
at least for us, so.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right.
And the fountain is, Pam from purchasing is working on putting that out on BidNet.
Okay.
I think she said she was out last week or something, but it should be happening soon. So then we'll wait for those to come in, and it will be, somewhat of a similar process to the dining table, but hopefully maybe not quite as in-depth. I don't know, but,
The aquatics just went through a really big one with her, so.
oh boy, okay, well,
She's a busy lady.
yeah. So anyway, but we're going through the process.
That's
So,
good.
yeah.
Super. Okay. And that wraps everything up on his restoration and preservation for now?
Yeah,
This guy's name is Don Smith, if you want to.
Ben from Parks also mentioned that there's like some plumbing aspects of the fountain that need to maybe be revisited this year, which is not necessarily part of the like restoration piece. So
Right.
that could be another separate quote from a different type of contractor that needs to happen.
Right.
But we'll tackle that as we learn more about the initial bid for the restoration piece of the fountain.
Okay. Well, thank you. All right. Then we'll move on to the formal garden plan. So we're coming up on spring, and I wanted to see if we should go ahead and just check with Sheila Prentice to see what her understanding or her thought is on when the spring field trip from the students coming from CSU to here would be the right timing, because I just don't know how they do their schedule with the semester. Do you think it'd be a good idea to reach out and just say, what's the timing on a spring field trip, so we get an understanding of that?
Yes, so we actually met with Ben Groton from Parks and Brett he's the city forester, was that 2 days ago? Monday? Anyhow, day or two ago. And watched the grounds with them for about an hour and went through the whole report from Sheila and talked, specifics about each aspect that she presented. So I think the plan, and we want to share that information with you, but also I think the plan is to kind of work from what she put together and the information that we got from Parks and Forestry to get something a little more comprehensive back to Sheila and say this is, kind of what we're ready to move forward with at this time. And what Ben from Parks would like to do is to, get a plan, I guess, from the students, and maybe, I don't know if they were kind of planning to do like 2 or 3 options or something like that, but to get those, and then that we would need an estimate on how much the cost would be for all the work that we want done, and that would be like the total work, in whatever time period it takes, like to get it to the place that we want, and then he would submit that for the budget for 2027. That doesn't mean some of that stuff can't start earlier, but he would submit it, and then we would see if it gets approved and go from there. If it doesn't get approved as a total amount, there's a possibility that it could then get approved as an amount kind of split up over 3 or 4 years or more. But that's kind of next steps. So
I have a question on the spring field trip. Do we know what that would
The
include?
objective?
Yes.
Yes, it is to have the students come to walk the property, and based on what Sheila had put in her recommendations, go one step further in actually kind of coming up with a plan of planting and some of the landscape, and just design work. And I think,
And then give that back to us as here's another
to say,
plan.
here's
And that's
what a
Ben
beautiful
wants.
historic garden aesthetic would look like.
But he also
And-
needs an estimate attached with that. Is
Which
that
he
something
said-
they can provide?
I don't
I think
know.
he said he was going to give it to Grow, and then Grow would say.
You're right. Okay.
Yes.
That's
So
what he
if
said.
we have that garden plan, or maybe version A, B, and C, or whatever it is from them, when we get that back, Ben said he would give it to Grow, and Grow could come up with a dollar amount of what all of that would look like.
Well, that's helpful to know.
Yeah.
It may not be just limited to Grow coming up with an estimate. It's something that I'm not sure yet, but I would anticipate that the students and CSU Extension can probably come up with an estimate also. Perhaps they even have, because part of their projects is, it is planning, but it's also cost.
Sure. So
So they
could say it's
probably
going to cost
can-
$100,000, but CSU is going to cover 20 in their projects planting this, and this.
Well, it's not
Are
so
they
much that. It's
covering
more
their-
about,
Just
I think
no,
the
it's not so much
conceptual
that.
plan.
It's the conceptual
Yeah.
plan.
Yeah.
And to understand, okay, this is the plan, this is how it'll look. This is about the cost that it'll be. And it's not that they're going to be paying for that, or that
You're saying
they're-
they can just come up with a dollar amount.
They can
Yeah.
probably
Sure.
help, yeah. So there's a whole lot of information we can be getting
Sure.
from experts that
Yeah,
will
if
be
they
very
can
helpful.
provide that, that's great. We
Yeah.
need to get it from Grow though, since they would be the ones doing the work, or whatever aspect of it could be approved by the city, and then, we figure out what else we need from there, depending on whether or not that gets approved or in what way.
Grow's the company that we work with to do the landscaping and planting.
It's a
maintenance
private
of the garden.
company that's contracted by the city.
So do you know if this is a project for each one of these individuals that are going to come along with Sheila?
That's a good question. I don't have the full understanding of.
I
I understand there's going to be a group. I
Yeah.
don't know if they're going to divide and conquer. Like you take that side of the garden, you take that, or I don't know how they're going to approach this. That's that whole student part and the.
Well, you might mention to her then that we're interested as part of their project in them pricing it out just, you know, for the heck of it. I don't know, maybe that's built in already. I had a student do that, and she actually worked here at Callahan in the gardens for several years. And I had her come to my house and do it. And that was her project that she did for her class. And she had these beautiful drawings that she did, colored drawings and stuff, and I framed them, and it was really cool. Really cool.
I mean,
So
it's-
I envision that as being
Yeah.
their class projects. So there'll be
That's-
several to choose from, perhaps.
or several that cover different parts
Perhaps,
of the
yeah.
grounds.
This is your section?
Yeah, so
That's
I'm
yours.
just saying, I don't know how they're gonna do it.
Right.
But I know we're gonna have multiple people involved, and it's gonna
Mhm.
be, I think it's gonna be wonderful.
Mhm.
So we're gonna have some really great expert advice on how to bring that garden back to a
Yeah.
historic aesthetic look, so it's gonna be great. So I'll
Other
reach
piece
out to
was
her
the
just to ask
forestry.
her about that.
Yeah,
just
you can start to get an
yeah.
idea.
Just to
Of
say,
what they can
yeah,
do. Sure.
how does that work in the semester?
Yeah, yeah. The other piece was the forestry. Brett, the city forester, was there at the meeting this week as well. And we went through tree by tree that is listed here in Sheila's report, and got some information from him about each of those. And, you know, kind of what, so I'll preface this by saying they're planning to come out in the next week or two. They were just here in October, and you know, they come and check on a regular basis. Just, you know, it's kind of something that just happens automatically. And his opinion is still that there's no major pruning needs that need to happen at this point. However, they're planning to come out and do some pruning of the trees that Sheila mentioned. The other kind of overarching idea is that we don't remove healthy trees. So
Yeah.
that's, you know, just kind of the forestry standpoint on that. It doesn't mean that if something becomes unhealthy, it needs to be removed, obviously, that they wouldn't take care of that, but there's not really a need to remove healthy trees, but that they will go through and do some limbing on a couple of these that can be done. Again, not that any of it necessarily needs to be done, but some of it can be done, so they're gonna go through and do some of that in places where things are getting closer to the house, and some of these branches that Sheila mentioned. The other thing I wanted to impart is that with a couple of those, was it the maples? The honey locust.
The one in the front corner and the one
Sorry,
right
my
up
pen
here.
died while we
This
were
way.
out there, so now, yeah, I think it was the two maples that she mentioned needed to be pruned. I guess that those are very susceptible to too much sun and overheating, and so they tend to, if any pruning is done on those, it tends to be very minimal because it can be detrimental to the health of the tree. So they may or may not do any pruning on those, but it would be very minimal. And as you know, Colorado has gotten hotter and hotter, those trees are used less and dying more for that reason. So they're
He kind of described it from like them dying from the top down because the sun intensity is more or less burning them from the top. So the more pruning that you're doing is more exposing it to the sun, and it's just it's going to hurt the tree in the long run. So
Yeah.
Is
this
this all
one,
kinds of maple or just certain?
this certain kind.
the ones we talked specifically about the ones that are here on the property. I don't
Yeah,
know
the
about all
two.
the maples, but the one that's in the front corner, and then this guy, this big one right here.
So is the hot wing, is that mentioned specifically?
We talked about that, but we didn't talk about doing anything with
Not
that.
in terms of the two that he's talking
Okay,
about.
I'm just
That-
curious
Yeah,
if
no,
that
that
was
one-
Yeah.
mentioned.
We
That's
did talk
Dave's
about
trees.
that. I know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we did talk about that one, and we noted to them that that one is a memorial tree, and there wasn't much further discussion about it.
Was quick and-
So,
But then
And when
we
we
are
talked
taking
with-
out the one.
Excuse me just for a second. When we talked with Sheila while she was here about it, just if she had any concerns, would it keep the pavement? She said she wasn't concerned about that, so.
yeah, so that was good.
So anything that
overall,
potentially
yeah.
will keep the pavement is a concern, even a live tree. But even though forestry says that's their policy, they don't remove live trees. For this property, it may have to happen.
I don't
If
think
it's
that
something that-
for these ones in the back, I mean, we spent time out here in the corner and we looked at the two spruce in the back. The city, we are not going to remove those trees. We're not gonna give the seal of approval to move forward and remove those young saplings from the back that are healthy. They provide some privacy for the apartment complex that's right here, plus the corner to the street, and it's just not good practice to remove good healthy trees from the environment. So at this time, those two will not be removed from this property. We are gonna remove the shrub tree that's along the walkway here.
Yeah,
That one can go.
Yeah, that one's the next to go.
But that's where we stand on that one, for those two trees in the corner.
super. So do you have, I mean, I know you've gone through this and all, but do you have a list of all of what they're going to do? And then that way we can
They're
share
gonna
that
focus
with.
on the ones that Sheila pointed out.
Okay, I just wanted to be able to share that.
Less so,
with
if
Sheila.
anything, on those two maples that are of concern.
Right.
So, the other thing they pointed out was on the three, the really large spruce here, that one of them on the far left does have a beetle issue, which is concerning, but obviously we want to work to do anything we can to keep that tree. So what they're gonna do, and I don't know that that's happening in the next couple of weeks.
It is. I
okay.
think it is, yeah.
Is they're gonna, and they've done this with some other trees around the city that it's been really beneficial, is they're gonna top it, basically.
Which you can
to
see
get
the
rid
top
of.
is
Yeah,
a
it's-
goner.
yeah. To get rid of that spot, and then he said within a year or two that it would be unnoticeable that they had to do that, but that's the best thing that they can do to
This
try to
like
preserve the
pending
health of that
long-term
tree.
problem.
Do they treat them? Do they, with like injection?
Yeah, the problem is that unless every tree in the city is treated, which many of them are privately owned, so that just doesn't happen, that you can't have the same thing going on in my tree at home, but that you can't completely avoid it
Eradicate
if your neighbors aren't doing anything to treat theirs. So they're doing what they can do
Right.
for it.
I've had, arborists come and treat our maple, and it's an every other year
Yep.
injection, and we follow through. And I'm not saying our neighbors are doing that with theirs,
And that's
but
the thing. I have
it's a matter of
Siberian elm in
choice
our
of
house
well,
that's
and the arborist
giant.
explained, this does help. Yeah, you can't control what anyone
It
else's
helps,
tree,
but-
it does help your tree
yeah,
remain strong. So.
yeah. And the city does that for
Okay.
city trees, but
Will
there's
they,
a lot of
will they do that for this? Maybe.
yes.
Oh, good.
So.
So I'm hearing that if there's a tree out here that's healthy, that's been determined inappropriate for its location, size, species, or whatever, the forestry department will not remove it.
Well, not necessarily. Like they're removing that.
The one right here, so that one we've deemed as
The shrub
inappropriate,
spruce.
to use your
Yeah.
terminology. So yes, we are moving forward with the
it's-
approval of a healthy tree to be taken out of that specific location, but the two in the back, those we don't want to lose, and we don't want to lose the big guy out front.
Yeah.
I mean, the option was, Brett said, do you want us to treat and figure this tree out, or do you want to take it out? And I said, please do not take that large, beautiful tree
Yeah,
out
which
front.
he didn't want to.
He did
either.
say they're like a staple in the community, those three. So we're moving forward with treating that one, removing that one, trimming up. What's this one? Pruning that one right there.
the crabapple.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They said to do some to that.
think
The
that
tree on the
was-
corner that's kind of coming over on the house. Oh, and the one over the right in the front there.
The northwest
That's
corner.
hitting the
Yeah, over the. Yeah.
But it's all pretty minimal. I don't think that a passerby would be like, oh, that looks totally different given how much that
Yeah.
they pruned.
And the one right here is one of those maples that he talked about, that trimming on that should be very minimal, and that, because I think there was some mention of wanting to clear away some of these branches that we can see right here to open up the aesthetic of the house, but that could be detrimental to the tree, so they're not gonna do that. And the other reason being, and I know that we want to work to, restore things to a historic aesthetic at some point, but we also need to keep in mind that this is no longer a private home and it's used in different ways than it was. And so, for weddings, we want to keep a lot of that cover on those sides, because every client that I talk to that comes out for a wedding is concerned about the traffic and the surrounding buildings, and we want to keep that coverage. It's important.
We want it to look
So-
nice for people who book their private events here.
Yeah.
And we're on a busy street corner, so we need to keep that in mind when when we're planning what the garden looks like.
And I think that giving them the students that feedback about making coverage and with privacy, a little bit of separation when they're in the street, that will be helpful to share with them in their planning of the garden.
What do you want or / need from Brittany for the students coming out?
If you
Does that make sense? Is that appropriate?
actually
What can I put on your plate?
no, let's keep things
I just
very
don't want them
simple.
to come out
Right.
blindsided and then us
Right.
giving them information.
Yeah, we don't want to
hearsay.
stuff beforehand.
Here's a bulleted list of what we want you to focus on when you come out here.
I think that we're going to probably go based off of what Sheila's recommendation is for them to focus on.
Okay,
And
sure.
that was, and with the board's input, it was a matter of, well, this needs to be a prettier look that, so just improving the aesthetic of it is really the goal. But sharing with them your concerns about noise and privacy is helpful as well.
Yeah,
So-
and we do
so
want to
we
provide
don't really
pointers,
need-
some of this feedback that we got from, there's a few more things to share that we got from parks about, what we will do and what we want to do. And so I think, there are a few extra points of feedback to share
Sure.
with them, because there's no point in having them do something that then we have to.
Well, great. If you've got
Throw
a
out
list
pieces
of what will be done by, say, for example, if you've got a list of what will be done by forestry and a list of what will be done by parks, that would be helpful to have.
Sure.
Well, and it's, because again, and my understanding is that these students aren't necessarily going to be providing actual work, they're providing these plans, as that's what they're volunteering, correct?
They're
Or
providing
is there
plans,
opportunity for them to
yes.
actually come
It's
work on the garden?
potential that they can come and work on the garden
Okay.
too, is my understanding.
Okay.
And so we kind of have the best of both that way. We've got the expert of
Where I think it would be helpful, I don't want to commit parks to something that
Right.
that's a really like if they're like, we can do
If that's
pull all the
their
roses out,
project.
then let's take that off Parks' plate and
Right.
put Parks' energy and money towards something else. So I think we kind of need the plan from.
Yeah, well, if you can provide me with
Some-
what the
sure.
city is doing, what forestry is doing, and what parks is doing, then that I can share with Sheila and she can share with
Okay.
the students, and then they can move forward from there. And then
Sure.
based on what plans they come up with, they can say, we can do this for you.
Okay.
I think in terms of what Parks is doing, what Grow would end up doing, would be based on what the plans, what the students from CSU come up with, and then submitting that for budget and seeing what gets approved and what they can do and what needs to be done, with other resources. So that could be
Right.
where then the students can come back in.
Volunteer work.
I hear also what you're saying, like if they're willing to do the volunteer work, let's not
Say no.
use
Right,
our
that's why I don't want to say
resources
like
to
this
do
is
that.
what Parks is doing.
Yeah, I don't think we
when
can say that at
we
this
don't
point
necessarily
until we know.
have that because we don't have this final plan.
Yeah.
That we've said, hey Parks, here's our plan. What can you do?
Okay,
You know,
okay.
we talked about some things like the removal of some of those roses and the is it the Virginia creeper? Is that what it's
Mhm.
called? And that, but we didn't go. I mean,
Well, if you can include just at least the some things, that's helpful.
I think
And we
we'll
can even
just say, like,
we can even say,
here are the items
this
that we
is
talked about
what's
that we
been
want
talked
to
about,
move forward
and
with.
we're not committing
Yeah.
them
Mhm.
or the city to who's gonna do it.
Yeah. The other piece that forestry is gonna do is work on that, like rejuvenation pruning of the lilacs. So I think they'll
Oh, good.
start on that with
That's
the,
great.
when they come out to do the trees.
So I have a question. When the city removes something from a park like that, like rose bushes or whatever, are they just tossed?
so funny. I
We
asked.
asked that same question because we were like, oh.
I was like, where did trees go when they died?
Yeah.
No, they actually, Ben was saying that they take them off site, or I forget if it was Brett, and they chop them all up and then they're reused as mulch back in the parks. So they just get
Like
recycled.
compost.
They said they don't waste anything.
They don't waste anything.
The
Yeah.
trees.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, I
You're
was
asking
more
about
cons-
rose bushes?
Yeah, I was more concerned about, hey, I'll pick one, I'll take one home, that kind of thing.
I mean, that could be a good question. I don't,
Yeah.
we're
We
asking,
talked
I was
about
asking
the-
more about the trees,
like the
not necessarily all the
spruce,
roses.
Yeah,
that
but
are
I can ask about that.
Sure.
Speaking of the roses, we did talk about, the beetles. They love the roses and they love the Virginia creeper. And the creeper grows on all the statues and on some fencing back here. So they were very much on board with moving forward with getting rid of the Virginia creeper, replacing, I think clematis was like
Yeah.
the first go-to.
Yeah.
And they said that would take a year or two, or like a year or a couple seasons to establish. So that's definitely gonna be part of the plan, and to remove the roses. What they did caution is that just because the beetles are only on the roses and the Virginia creeper here now, doesn't mean that if we take those out, that they wouldn't find something else that they decided to like.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
So we need to be just mindful of that. And the other thing that Ben Groton is very in support of is planting more perennials. He's, made a push to do that every year, little by little. And we want to keep moving forward with that because the annuals, for one, the budget for those is insane.
Yeah.
And
It's
there's
insane.
a lot of ways to use perennials to replace some of the need for annuals. So that's also something we want to move forward with. The snow on the mountain, they're very aware of, and that's something that can be worked on this year. The other thing was the hydrangeas. Those are also not going to be removed. It's just not something that we're interested in doing. They're a healthy plant. They're beautiful. They're great for weddings. We're not going to take them out.
And decorating.
Yeah.
They wouldn't consider moving them, like not destroy them, not get rid of them.
I mean, they're
not eliminate them.
thriving in
Go
those
ahead.
spots where they
But-
are now. So
Yeah.
I think
Sometimes
we're
It's-
going
it's
to
in a
leave
way,
those for
it's-
now.
Well, it's in a way, it's something we ought to keep in our minds because it is doable. So.
It's the same thing with the trees. Just because it's doable to take them out doesn't mean that
No,
we're
it-
gonna.
but
Same with
you
the
may-
plan. Whatever the plan that these CSU students come up with, we still have to make final calls on what we want the garden to look like.
Mhm.
So, obviously we appreciate all of the hard work that they'll put into coming up with the plans, but at the end of the day, it is the city's vision and the board's advice of what we do to the garden. So right now, we're not gonna move those. They can put it in the plan to move those and we can say, thanks, we appreciate
I'm
your
just really
work."
encouraged
So-
by hearing feedback from the meeting that there are little things that are going to be taken care of.
Absolutely,
And-
absolutely.
That's great to hear.
Yes, I'm encouraged they're going to be doing trimming and things sooner than fall because that's busy wedding season and summer as well.
And we just want to be appreciative of Forestry's time because they
Absolutely.
are coming out on our request, not because they
Absolutely.
have to. So,
It's wonderful.
The other
It's
piece
great.
was the stonework. Ben did agree that a lot of that is just outdated and
Needs to
has
be
gotten
yeah.
messy and needs to be redone.
Good.
His, if we had like our full druthers, what he would recommend would be to do some curbing, some cement curbing. Very expensive. Probably, I think he said that would
he
be
was
like.
like that was unattainable to do. It was a lot.
Oh well, he didn't.
That's what
say-
my takeaway was.
Oh, okay.
Do you have the money
That'd
to
be
do
the
that?
next.
Is kind of
That'd
what
be
I
the
heard.
next restoration project.
Yeah, I mean, if we can raise funding for it, or I don't know,
I mean,
but
here's the
that would be
thing.
ideal. But he did say that would be, at least as much as the total project. Aside from that, what we're talking about. But what they could, I think, maybe even just going in around the fountain and removing that top layer and just kind of like trying to tidy up some of that for now and seeing how we want to move forward. But the curbing would be ideal. But once it's there, obviously, then it's there.
And it's there forever.
So we
And he
make
did
sure.
mention to get a concrete, you have to get the concrete truck in the
Into the
vicinity
garden
and
somehow, yeah.
We'll barrel it in.
We do.
Yeah. So those are probably more.
That's gonna cost.
Well, we
future
do know
things,
Mason
but-
who has done work on the property before, namely the sign out front. And so it'd be an easy, way to just call him and say, Scott, do you want to come meet me at the garden and look at this and give me your thoughts and come up with an idea of how it could be done and what it would cost?
I would also have the CSU students
Them as
have
well.
that be part of their
Yes.
plan, just so
Sure.
we can either see
Yes.
some other options
Yeah.
or like
But
what that
what-
would really look like.
But what I'm
We
getting
can
at is
estimate how
that
much it would cost.
with the local businesses, what I'm getting at is some of them are going to be willing to, if we ask, help us with some of these projects that are outside of budget.
Yeah, I think if it's a certain dollar amount, we'd have to go out to bid. And there's just like with Dan with Memory Lane, there was no promise that we were gonna use him, so
No.
same with Scott.
I understand
Mhm.
that. I'm not saying that contract him for, to pay him for that. It would be more of a, Scott, what would you be willing to help us to do? Volunteer. And so I do know, I feel strongly about this. Our community is really great and supportive, and private businesses are willing to help. If you're specifically asking them
Sure.
for something, they'll do it.
I think
So-
we're
so I
going
think that
farther
one,
down the
though,
road.
is
Let's go back
an
to
example.
getting CSU out to get a plan so that we can ask the right questions. We don't know what we're asking right now.
It's just the example of how you bridge the gap beyond budget.
Sure.
And that's volunteers, and that includes professionals in private companies. So, all right, keeping that in mind, anything else that you wanted to share with us about?
I don't think so.
That's very helpful, thank you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was like,
Flagstone, where
yeah.
you put the bar.
We need
talked
to
about
just
that.
get FaceTime with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry, say it
The
again.
flagstone where you put the bar.
Oh yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
That was another thing we talked about was kind of irrigation was really this one for that conversation. But irrigation is a struggle here every summer. Part of it is just the water pressure on the property, and the old pipes and stuff is difficult, and there's not a whole lot that can be done about the water pressure. But what Ben mentioned is that changing out, and they come in, and replace heads and stuff every year as needed, but that doing kind of a somewhat bigger overhaul with changing out the heads to a different type of sprayer. I don't know the name, but that is, I guess it kind of saturates an area slower over a longer period of time, which will also help with some of the over saturation that happens, and then we have soppy areas because it, instead of so much water all at once, which works for our watering schedule because it happens in the middle of the night. So replacing with those heads just to help with the dry spots and stuff that we're seeing. But one of the dry spots that we have every summer, and I always try to reseed it, but it's just never going to be a good place for grass, is right over here under the spruce trees, because all that pine needle fall, and those are so acidic, it just kills the grass there. So they can reseed it, and they do it multiple times a year, and it's just... So what I would like to do, and Ben was in support of this, would be to do, maybe we can see some different options from the CSU students, but I was thinking kind of like a flagstone maybe. It's right in the nook here, and we always put the bar there for weddings and events. Grass is not going to grow there, so we need to come up with something else, and my thought would be like a flagstone type situation that we see in some of the areas of the beds here. That's like the designated bar area, and then we're not trying to hide grass alive.
grass.
Yeah, hide that. It'll look nicer, and the grass just isn't
Be
gonna
functional.
live there. It'll be
Yeah.
more functional. It'll be like a designated area for for setup for events and things like that. So
Can we share that with the students and get their input or ideas on that?
I think
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
when we put this list
Okay.
together, that'll be good to put in.
Because if that's
yeah, there might be some different ideas. That was just first,
Yeah.
thing that came to mind for me. But
If you wanted something that grows, periwinkle will grow.
well, the problem is we need that space to be functional.
Okay.
So
so you really
and to look
really-
more intentional, I think, than
Yeah.
just like a dead spot every year that we just try to cover. But
Yeah.
So your goal is really to find a place to place a bar.
The goal is grass isn't going to grow there, and we need that space to be functional, so it needs to be revamped in some way.
And is that the
Right.
best place
Right.
for a bar?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is
Is
where-
it just there by default or whatever? But that is kind of the best place to
It's the
have
best
it.
place for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works out well. That's where we always put it for events.
Rather than on a solid surface such as the driveway.
That's where the buffet goes. So
That driveway. I mean, you
On the
put
other
your
side of the
buffet out
house?
on the east side, right? If you
yeah,
had-
that's not really very accessible for people to get to.
Oh.
The bar location now is ideal, but the
Or
main
farm
point
location.
is that grass won't grow there and something else needs to happen,
Yeah.
regardless of whether or not the
Right.
bar is going to continue to be there. But
I think
the
personally,
priority
I
is the
prefer-
grass.
yes,
isn't
yes.
working out.
Grass
there,
isn't
so.
working, but personally, I prefer that remain, more of the garden rather than a bar setup area.
Well, it would just
But
be
let's
stone
find
outside
out
of-
I mean,
what,
yeah.
let's find out what
The
this.
events take place in the garden, so the garden also
Yes,
needs
of
to
course.
be functional for that.
Of course.
So
But that doesn't mean we need to,
I'm not saying it has to be
Carve it
flagstone.
out
I'm
and
saying
then-
let's include it and see what ideas come up.
Yeah.
But it can't be grass any longer.
right,
So
yeah, yeah. So, which would be good to see what the students come back with.
I think another point we may want to address is very minor, but the access from, say, the garden across the driveway to the other side, I think there are probably a few places, but the access seems to be very dangerous. 'Cause
I
typically
agree.
there's
That's a good.
a concrete stepping stone, there's a high curb, and sometimes the sprinkler pipe is above ground, goes
Yeah.
across. I think it's very dangerous, people walking from.
I agree with
One
you. That
point to the
could
other.
definitely be improved. I
We
appreciate you
maybe
bringing that up.
work on that in the, on the layouts that the students are doing, is address the access from.
Right, from the
And then, of
garden
course,
to
we
the
would then
driveway.
need to improve that, so
Yeah.
it's not a tripping hazard.
Yeah,
I agree. Thank you, Jeff.
yeah. Okay, so when do you think you'll be able to put that list together? So,
I can have it to you by the end of the week.
oh, that'd be great.
I mean, it's going to be kind of a an outline
Sure.
of these are the items and
Yeah, this is what Forestry's doing, this is what Parks is doing. Here are things that we kind of want you potentially to be considered or included, and yeah, that kind of thing, yeah. Be great, okay. As soon as I get that from you, then I can share that and reach out to Sheila. All right, we'll move on to the room-by-room tour booklet and QR code tour. So Jeff did submit the
Yeah.
outline.
Yeah. There's an outline included in the package. Maybe we just take a couple minutes to briefly go through that, and like everybody's input on things you feel are important that we should focus on, or maybe some things not that important that we can either say briefly or maybe not at all. But I've got this just a brief outline formatted in a few sections. The first part is basically focusing on the Callahans and their business. The very first part I thought might be important to give a very brief background and history of the Callahans, their family, where they're from, when they got married, some dates and stuff, and why they moved to Longmont, what brought them here. And then that kind of will be setting the stage for the second bullet here shown as the early years in Longmont. And again, that's focusing on the family, talking about Alice and their son, their original business here, the store, how they operated, things along that line. And the next one, the third one, here's the kind of the golden rule. That would be focusing primarily on their business and the syndicate. How it developed, how it grew, people involved, and of course the JCPenney involvement, which I think is kind of fun. I think it's important history, but it's something that people seem to identify with because everyone knows the JCPenney's. So that was the idea of the kind of the background.
Cool.
So, if there's any thoughts, comments, please let me know, or we can continue on this.
Looking good.
Okay.
I still have that JCPenney info I was going to send to you. I will do that.
Okay. All right. And I think I met a couple people who were up in, I guess, western Nebraska this summer, and in the town, forgot the name of it, but there was a sign on the store that had the golden rule. And it turned out it was the original sign from the store when it was there. And it recently had been refurbished as a historic statement for it. And I did find a couple photographs, and after the store left, and new people, the new store kept the original sign but took off the words and put theirs on. But they actually recently restored it, so it was pretty
Good.
cool seeing the sign from the golden rule. So the next part is actually the house itself. I guess again, I got a brief history of when the Sweeneys, the original house when the Sweeneys built it, what that consisted of. Perhaps some photos. We got some original photos of the house, and I was considering maybe we include floor plans of the existing house, so people want to see actually what was originally there. We can show that there. And and then why they sold it to Callahans. Next one is the house as the Callahans had it when they originally acquired it, and the concept of trading it for lumber I thought was kind of fun. So just a few facts like that I would like to include. And then that would also include what they did before they moved into the house. You know, things like the hot water heat, electricity, et cetera, et cetera. And then if any particular photographs of that we could include in there. And then kind of continue on that with the improvements that they did to the house and the property. You know, that would include the auto house and the veranda, the land acquisitions of both the corner property where the garden is now, and then the property on the other side. And then we discussed the major addition improvements they did to the house. Actually, they were when they were here, the 1906 edition, and all the renovations that they did to the house at that time, and then also discussing the garden, fountains, and things that they added then, and of course photographs, as we may have for those. Just some items of interest that I kind of think are either important or fun, things that some people touring through the house kind of seem to be interested in hearing. Automobiles, I think, is a big thing, especially since I believe they had the first automobile in town. Alice loved to drive. She had an electric car, which over 100 years ago was pretty cool. They were still struggling now with electric cars. Automobiles, I know we have photos of probably 5 or 6 different automobiles that they had, so it may be good to include some of those in this. And then again, the items that necessarily don't want to repeat, but we might if we have a particular category. Things like the first electric lights in the residence in town, the central heating, the call bell system, things like that. And then I guess to kind of conclude the history is kind of discuss them deeding the house of the city. Of course, we know why, but we can share that information, and kind of why they left Longmont. And the next would be getting into room by room description of the house. We have tremendous amount of information that Dushin's tour package, and I like to format that room by room. So I'm not sure if people after using this to go through the rooms, they may or may not, but it at least can explain room by room the various items and issues and furnishings and things that we kind of like to highlight. And then kind of ending up with more of a historic blurb discussing general importance of preservation of buildings such as this, what has been involved in preserving what's involved in preserving historic homes, and then specifically what has been done to the Callahan house over the years in order to preserve it. And again, we may mention some of the groups, organizations that have been involved in the historic process.
Including the patrons of Callahan.
Yes.
Yeah.
We will do that. Thank you. I guess that's just a brief outline of what I had in mind for this booklet.
Very thorough. Very good.
Great.
Comprehensive outline, that'll be great. And it'll be interesting just then to, as you develop, determine the flow and how things are going to be placed in the booklet. I do think that people will want to use it for 2 reasons. They'll want it for the purpose of being able to open it up to the pages where the present floor plan is, and being able to look through the detail of each room that they don't have access to right now. So I know that will be something that will be useful for people who do like to really dive into stepping through each room and really observing and looking at all of that. That'll be great. But then all the history and all the information definitely promotes the history and education of the Callahans, the house, and restoration. So it's great.
Good job.
Very nice.
And as far as photos, and I've seen them, there are books that are on the wall, they're all over. Do we have photos?
Bunch.
I'm I'm sorry, you
I
don't
have a
have.
bunch that I have from the museum archives, and so, yeah.
So they're all, those you have are all one.
So are
one
those
source.
here?
I have them on my
Okay, you should
computer.
take,
and,
yeah, from what you've researched. Yeah. Gotcha.
Received from Eric Mason when he was curator.
So have the historic photos that are in the
I have
museum
all
archives?
of those. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Digital archives are all online too on museum website, so.
Good, all right, good.
Good job.
Very nice.
And so you'll be able to stay on track with the schedule that we
Yeah, I think you
discussed
mentioned
about.
like had it completed
on
by
the-
May. Yeah.
Because that's, and if you'll let us know when or if you need any input, like to have a committee meeting to say, hey, can we look through all of this? Can you just let us know?
But most definitely, I'd have to, well, to do a draft of
Yeah,
these
yeah.
various things and so let everybody look at that.
That'll be great.
And this is meant to be like a spiral bound, like the little one that we kind of already have, or what's the
No.
format?
Maybe more like a staple fold, right? Hard,
Either-
cardstock type of
Like this.
a
That size.
cardstock, yeah.
Right.
Cardstock kind quality cover, but you know, all of the content inside is on just regular paper, and it'll be like double staple in the center, similar to what the Stanley
Right, I think that's fine.
has.
Yeah. The other option is the spiral, which is,
Will be more
That's
costly
also-
though. And I think a part of the concern would be keep costs and I guess production of it simple. You know, so if we're keeping with something similar to what the Stanley has, without that we'll do both. We'll keep costs down and production will be simple. And
I think that
You're
book
talking
was
about producing it
$5.
in-house?
it was, I think,
Maybe 5 or 6.
yeah, I think they've upped it, but yeah, so I'm
That's
sorry
fair.
that, what?
I mean, it's gonna have to get done like through a printer.
Right.
Regardless, so we can
Like
see
through-
what options they
Sure.
have in the pricing and kind of, sorry for there once the content is ready, but
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, yeah,
okay.
it's something that,
like a half sheet size.
Yeah.
yeah, it's like
Like
taking
this
an 8.5
size.
by 11, folding it in half, you know, stapling the center, and there you have your book.
Okay.
And it's something that I'm pretty sure the city is quite capable of doing. Whether we are able to do that in this house or another department has the ability to do that. I don't know.
You mean printing and stapling?
Yeah,
No, I
mean-
mean, just open it again.
Yeah.
like
We have a printing budget, it'll be done
a,
by a printer.
yeah.
It's not something we're gonna do in-house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's why
City
you can
won't
see what
just
We have
options
a
they
stapling
have.
party. There's
No,
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 we
no,
don't
no.
have a department that does printing and, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No,
Maybe
we have
it's
a
not- we don't have like a print
Market-
shop, so.
Marketing doesn't do, they don't do any of that.
All that gets outsourced.
All of that gets
Yeah, we don't have a
outsourced.
print shop.
Okay.
Yeah, we use
We don't have any.
Minuteman right over here.
Okay.
Unless you
Yeah,
print
unmade.
stuff like this.
Okay.
So-
Ron's printing, right?
It's Minuteman now, but
Yeah,
yeah.
Minuteman,
yeah,
okay.
So we can see what options they have
Sure.
and decide
See what their,
based on what we
how many
want
pages they
to
have.
charge for it and then what we want to
Yeah.
have our markup be on that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay.
Well, okay, thank you, Jeff. The next thing we'll move on to then is the retreat, the debrief. We had an excellent retreat, got tons of work done, literally got on the same page, and the minutes reflect all of that work. And so, Cindy, thank you again for your excellent work with the minutes. I will suggest we add one more thing that I didn't think of before, is let's put the word minutes after Callahan House Advisory Board retreat, so that it's clear it's the minutes. That's one little last ask. We just add that it's minutes. And I think because they are minutes, we should go ahead and add signatures of chairperson, secretary, and our mission statement. Are they on there? Yeah, they are. Excellent. Yes.
That's the other one too. The
Excellent.
second one I remember to print right for the meeting, so.
Yay, thank
job.
you. Perfect,
Now it's
perfect. Excellent.
You want me
So,
to revise my document and then send it to be?
Did you send,
you have.
no, I have it,
You
obviously,
have
because
it.
it's part of
because-
this, so I'll just
yeah.
take care of that.
Okay.
So if you could just add minutes to it, that'd be great. I think one thing that I would like just to ask everyone to do, as you remember, I gave everyone a 1-inch binder with specific items that are going to be point of reference throughout the year. So that when, as Brittany's saying, hey, if you got something from a prior packet, you know, that's going to have to do with something on the agenda, bring it. This makes it simple for everyone to have that easily accessible in a 1-inch binder. So please take a look through your binders, see if there's anything that you don't have. I know that we talked about it. There were some specific things like the formal garden plan. I will go make color copies of that so you have a full color copy to put in here. But anything else that's not in your binder that you would like, I'd appreciate if you'd email me. Just give me a list. Say, can you get me a print of so I can get that done so that you've got it. And then it's an easy resource for future meetings.
I just have a question with these binders that you created, and forgive me if this is too forward, but if a board member leaves, is that binder leaving with them, or is that staying here with?
It leaves with them because I bought the binders and I gave them to them. I bought the dividers and I gave them to them. That was all.
Sure, I don't think we knew that.
But
I didn't know
but
that
it
you
was-
were making these binders and
but
paying
it was-
for all of this stuff.
But it was just to make it simple, to make it streamlined, because I know how challenging it's been with, we will have dealt with something, a few months prior, and it's like, oh God, you have to like really try to dig for the document or whatever, when it'll just be so much easier.
Just
to have
thinking for it to be
on
living, like if the
If
day
we
comes
wanna
where we have,
continue,
10
Yeah.
people sitting here.
It'll be easy.
What's the difference
because,
between those and the ones that were provided when the new board members start?
a significant amount of
Yeah, I think it's
information.
great. I guess that's all. I was just curious about how we keep the longevity of a binder that you 4-5 have.
Yes, if you
Again,
going
a forward
forward,
question. Yeah.
going forward, when we have new board members, I would recommend we
So does
continue with this.
Does Brittany have a binder?
process.
Do you know what I mean? Like how can we continue to recreate?
Technically,
reproduce?
with this page, yes, you do,
Okay.
because you have all of these documents. There are documents that have been provided previously.
Sure. Again, I'm just curious.
So
I
everything-
just wanted to.
Everything
So
that's
if we get
on that
somebody new,
list.
who is responsible for creating? If this is what you guys talked about at the retreat of having this binder for new people,
Did you want
there should be a process to create said binder,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Well, there's
Yeah.
one that is provided to board members when they start it. It looks like this is an expansion on that.
Yes.
But yeah, this is the first time
Yes.
hearing about it as well, so.
And it does include our.
Did you want to look at?
I mean, it looks amazing. I'm just,
events
it's
and
brand
our
new
board
to
committees,
us,
which
so
are part
I'm
of the
just
packet
trying
this
to
month,
digest
which you saw.
it.
Yeah.
And that'll be part of ongoing, when the packet is, part of ongoing packet creation process is we're not gonna reprint things over and over. It just
Right.
There's a lot of paper.
Yeah.
out there.
saving
Right.
resources and whatnot. So yeah, plan
This is
to
from
have,
our
if you want to refer
Other
to
stuff
documents that are ongoing,
that
plan
I
to
just
bring
shoved in the pocket.
prior packets.
Or bring this binder, which you'd have that document in it. So,
Sure,
Yeah.
however
So-
you wanna
So yeah, that's,
manage your
Okay,
stuff.
sorry if I jumped in there.
but anyway, so part of the packet for this month are these, board hosted annual events calendar, which is better defined, including dates and times, and then the board committees, which is all then listed out, makes it real easy to know, okay, who's the lead on that, who's involved in that. It does not mean that it's exclusive. Everybody is welcome to be part of any board committee, but it's just who had signed up or said, yeah, I'm interested in that at the time, so.
So you're saying these two are new,
No, they're in there.
they're identical to
They're
this?
identical to what's in there. Yeah, they are new to the board meeting because we did this during the retreat, and so the retreat happened between last board meeting and this board meeting, so they needed to be introduced.
I see.
In this board meeting,
Gotcha.
here are two documents that are
Just want to know if I need to take it apart and put it in here.
No, they are in there.
So is this something that the chair is gonna provide moving forward, or it seems a little bit
I think it's.
of a repeat from the one that gets provided, so I think we should
Yeah, I
consolidate and.
Consolidate.
I think,
Yeah.
I think whatever else you're providing,
Well, we don't need to provide a duplicate, so this, like I said, this looks like a more expanded version of what I provide to board
Mhm.
members when they start.
yeah,
So let's not do both.
right, so let's do this.
Great.
Um,
And is that something that the chair, is gonna be a chair?
It can be, or with,
I mean, we
with,
can-
with the resources
city
of the
can provide the
city.
resources,
Yeah.
yeah.
But the,
Again, I didn't know
but
that
the
you
chairperson
were
can
doing this,
lead
and
that
that
and
you
say,
used your own pocket to pay for this stuff. We're happy to do reimbursement or however,
not
but
necessary.
this is the first I've seen this, so.
Right, it would, well, everybody, on our retreat, on the 27th is the first everybody saw it, so this is all, yes, new. But the point is to make it so that it's easy access to
Right,
documents
cool.
that
But
we'll
we
need to
just don't
reference
need
at any
Well,
point.
let's come,
versions,
we can come up with a
so-
process.
Yeah.
This is,
When we get some
this is
board
good, and I
members.
think the chairperson can be kind of the lead in updating list if
Great.
needed. But for now, everything's in there that needs to be in there that everybody would need to reference. And it makes it simple. But if there's any document that's not in here, please email me. If you'll individually email me, here's my list of, documents from the index that I would like a copy of. Then I can get that done. But then that way you've got it. All
And
right.
is this created annually at the retreat or as new members are
As new members join,
started for it? Okay.
it is a bit of a living binder because it would include for example, it includes house manager reports. So that way, as you're presenting and including your house manager reports in the packet, then there's a place that those can go so that they can be referred to.
It looks really full already. How much more?
It's
if
actually about
living-
as full as it's.
Right, so if you're
but
saying adding
Any
in.
old documents can be replaced,
Okay.
with new, so.
Because it seemed like when I started, the binder that you provided was mainly just to plug in these notes, and then like all of those individualized documents, I just stuck I just stuck like in this between the initial
Yeah.
page with the. So
Like,
they're
I
all
think
just
Brittany and I are
something
fine with
that-
this. I think
yeah.
we're just trying to think
I'm more
about.
than happy for you to do this with city resources, or just,
We just
I
didn't
don't
know.
want, we don't need two versions of it.
No, we don't, you're right.
Yeah.
So definitely. And I think that as you're looking through that, you'll see that I think it covers includes what you probably provide
Yeah.
have previously provided for members. So, okay. All right. So on the note of the retreat minutes, I'm hoping everyone has taken time in advance to read those. And I'm going to ask, because you didn't really get the time to have any input, if you would like to have time to have input, then I would say we'll table review and approval of this set of minutes for next month's meeting. But I want to leave that to you. I don't want to push you into, well, we're voting on this and you didn't have any time to put any input in.
I read it and I don't need an input. I thought it was fine the way it was.
If you've read it and you didn't find anything to be added, I'm fine.
Good.
Okay. All right. Well, is there a motion to approve the minutes from the retreat?
I make a motion to approve the
Julie,
minutes from the
thank
retreat.
you. And Cindy can even second. All in favor? That's unanimous. So the minutes from the retreat are approved. With the addition of the word minutes at the top. Right, Brittany?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, we can move on to, and keep keep this handy and readily available because it, obviously it refers back to kind of the plan and timeline for each of the projects or events. So this is really a helpful, comprehensive, single page, double-sided reference. So, all right, then event committee updates. Let's start with Candy with Club Affair.
Just as it says here, the event's July 18th, and to showcase the house, we're combining this event with summer open house. And I suggested also that we incorporate it with an ice cream social to provide that at no charge to the public. And then I said we can get some fancy cars, and that would draw more people in. And so that's kind of the plan. The goal is to have some letters ready to send out to the clubs in March to alert them to the fact that we're doing the Club Affair piece, and that flyers are ready for distribution in May. And of course, we're inviting the public to attend the event through any media or contact we possibly can. And so we can start talking about that, inviting friends and mentioning it to people right away. The garden will be used for our clubs like we did before, that things would be done outside. I thought that was awesome, the way we've done it before. You organized that for us.
You did it.
And then the dancers, again, I want you to feed me suggestions for clubs and groups to contact. So I would like the final, I think I have the final list, but remember we had like 2 or 3 that popped in on the last day or so.
Yeah, and that was because towards the end of planning that event, we decided to like market, as opposed to just like the clubs that we reached out to begin with. We decided to market if people wanted to join the event, you know, to promote their clubs.
Mhm.
So I think we should add that as part of it kind of earlier on in the marketing this year.
Right.
To see if we
And
can
how
get
did you
some
do
different
that through the
pieces.
city?
Yeah, through the city
Okay.
marketing. It was like that first flyer that was created. So I think, yeah, that should be part of the marketing for the event, is if people want to come and like, you know, recruit sort of for their club that aren't just ones that we reach out to, that we should do that. Last year it was kind of tapped on later.
Right,
So
yeah.
we didn't get a whole lot of traction there, but I think if that's part of the first marketing that goes out, that'll be good.
So maybe towards the end of March? Is that too
Whenever
early?
we're gonna start
Or April?
sending stuff out for this, I mean, let's see, this will be in the summer recreation brochure, which I need finalized by March 2nd. I
2
think,
weeks.
Isn't it? So it doesn't have to be everything at that point, but we want to at least have a blurb about it in there.
Right,
So
yeah.
The
Mhm.
basics.
Okay.
But we can do more after that
Okay. So,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
advertise more pointedly
to like
to the public
new clubs.
than we did.
Yeah.
Just kind of
my-
pinpointed.
Yeah, because last year it was like kind of a direct invite, you know, but this
Right.
year do a broader invite for any clubs that want
Right.
to come and
Okay.
represent themselves.
Okay, so just shoot me emails about suggestions for clubs, groups.
Candy, do you
To
want
invite.
to set a committee meeting in between now and next board meeting because of the fact that you want the letter to be going out in March?
We have a letter, so I would take that letter and tweak that letter. I would be willing to have that letter ready to present at the board in the March meeting so that we could all look at it and approve it or make changes during our meeting then. But I see no reason to have a committee meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Does that wrap up Club Affair?
I think ideating on, we kind of talked about this a little bit at the retreat, but ideating on how to make sure that this event is a fundraiser and not a expense. So we're talking about ice cream and whatnot, and I think we talked about like getting this event donated.
Right.
I think
Mhm.
so.
And maybe some volunteers to help just dish that out and all those
Right,
kind of things,
yeah.
so.
Yeah, so that'll be something I'd work on in the meantime too,
Okay.
because I know the contact at Dairy Queen for all the toppings and things like
Yeah.
that. But you were gonna check with our
Catering.
caterers
Yeah, but
and
that's not
see
gonna
if
be-
any of them are willing to donate some ice cream. And I'll work on some of the other ice cream shops too
Okay.
and see. And I also thought, Safeway and King Soopers, they'll donate a gift certificate, so then you can go spend that
Okay.
on
Cool.
the ice cream or whatever. And if we have the room to store ice cream,
Yeah.
then maybe we can swing it that way too, or at least part of it.
Yeah.
Maybe see about Sweet Cow.
Store for how long?
Oh, just right before the event.
Oh, okay.
And during the event.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
we
we-
can make that happen.
Yeah. And then we may have to come up with some sort of, I don't know whether we need dry ice or whether we just do coolers or just how that will
There was
work.
that one at least big cooler up in the, above the auto house.
Mm.
Maybe we should have bought that storage bucket.
Should what?
That storage bin. That one for Home Depot that I could fit in.
Who was it that provided the ice cream for all the city boards last summer? They parked behind
Somebody
the,
else, I have no idea.
it was a food truck. I think it was Sweet Cow.
I think it was.
It was Sweet Cow.
Yeah.
So,
The relationship with our caterers isn't really,
Donation based.
yeah, I don't really feel comfortable asking them.
okay,
It's just not,
okay,
it's just not the relationship.
okay.
But that said, I think there's lots of other avenues within the city to, when I say within the city, I mean Longmont, not like City of Longmont as an entity, to hopefully get some donations for that.
Well, the other option then is to go simple and not make it ice cream cones. Make it
Popsicles.
popsicles.
Sure.
That would be,
Yeah, maybe somebody, there's the people that have the little carts, with the ice cream bars or whatever. There's a name for them that I'm not thinking of, but somebody's got like a small business that wants to get their name out there, I don't know, but.
could be.
I think you'd have to go through some.
But that would be a lot less,
If you were to go sell.
Right,
Or
I
I
think
guess
it'd
if
be a
it's
lot less
free, then
fun.
maybe not.
I mean, ice cream is
That's also
social.
fun.
Ice cream is fun, yeah.
Yeah.
And that would eliminate, that kind of thing would eliminate Dairy Queen, and they're very willing to participate most of the time, so.
And you wouldn't be able to feature that in your promotional stuff.
Right, come have a popsicle.
Or
Yeah.
we still give cards, and then you could buy the popsicles with them.
Okay, yeah, we gotta, well, if they're not, I think it's the selling that requires special licensing, so as long as they're not I'll double check. Just in terms of like giving out food at a public event, making sure that we're,
Adhering to city policy.
yeah.
we have
I think
done
it's
that.
gonna be a
I
food
know.
truck, but I just wanna make sure.
Okay, all right, okay.
I think it's if they're selling it that other aspects come into play, but if they're, donating it, it's free for people and people can make
And
donations or whatever.
if it's a dessert kind of thing, I think that's a different category than it
I don't
would
know
be
if
It
it's
is
other.
for
this
private
is
events,
like
but
a
for public
coffee truck
events.
coming.
If it's a
Things are always-
dairy product.
Okay, well, you find that out first for me.
I think we're fine as long as they're not selling it, but we'll double check.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think key here would be keep it simple
Yeah.
as far as,
Right, you're already trying to
Cost-wise.
organize an event, and then
Right.
we don't need to complicate it too much to make it fun with ice cream.
Anything else, Candy?
Hmm?
Anything else?
No, that's it.
All right. All right, for Art Rock, Cindy and I will co-chair that. We do need to set a committee meeting.
You and Cindy are co-chairing that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I bowed out.
Okay.
It's in the minutes, in the retreat minutes.
Okay.
So, what I think we need to know is when do you want to send those letters to the artists, those invitation letters?
I remember when we sent it last year.
I
We tried to get
I
out
could
a
go
little
back
earlier
and
than-
look,
Yeah.
but
I
I
can
think,
look.
do you have a preference?
Sooner the better. I mean, they don't need to go
Sooner,
out
yes,
tomorrow or
absolutely.
anything, but
I would say next
Um,
month would be ideal, right? Because that gives it, what is that? It's 6 months, March, April, May, June,
yeah,
July.
I don't think we even sent them out
September.
that early last year, but.
But remember how we
Since
were
it's
concerned about
harder.
artists get booked like really early?
Yeah, we
So-
definitely did them earlier last year than the year before, so that was good, but, I can look when
I mean,
we sent that, and anyway, I've got the the draft already, you
Yeah.
know, kind of ready to go. I can just send that and see if any tweaks need made.
Okay.
Um,
So in order to do
I'll
that,
just-
so we just need to provide you with the list of artists, and obviously it's gonna be based off of what we've done in the past.
Yeah.
But potentially new other artists adding, and so we just need to provide you with those names and email addresses,
Mhm.
and then you get that letter out.
Yeah.
Can you share
And-
the letter with me so
Yeah.
that I can share that with?
I'll send it
With
to the,
everyone.
who's in that committee? Is it just you and Cindy?
Cindy and I are co-chairing it, so
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Let me find the letter from the email from last year and share that, and we'll figure out what time that was sent out. And then, you have access to the sheet, so
I
you
do.
want to make sure.
Yeah, I have it
Using that
because I
moving forward.
updated
Okay.
it from last year.
Great.
So
Okay.
I can continue
And
to
you're
further
updating
update
it
it.
in Google
Excel.
Sheets.
It's in Excel. Mine is in Excel.
Right. It's a
Okay.
Google Sheet, like, you're updating it in a way that everybody has access to the updates, not just,
Oh.
I think I shared it with Google Sheets because
Okay.
like Maureen and people that were using it didn't have Office 365. So it should be a Google Sheet. That way the updates
Let me double check.
are made for everybody and not,
Let me double check if
Yeah,
I've got
made
a Google
offline.
sheet. Excuse me, if I could have a Google.
I'll just send you the link again with the email. Because that way the updates are being made, you know, in real
Yeah.
time online.
Yeah.
How do you want us, and who do you want us to send suggestions to? I reached out to somebody who was online the other day, and he's in Louisville. He's an oil painter. I know nothing about him, but
Well.
I
yeah,
liked his
guess-
paintings, though, the
Yeah.
pictures that he had, so that's why.
Okay. Well, I was going to suggest we gather that information together and bring it to a committee meeting, because that would be our opportunity to talk about the artists and make sure that we've got balance and everything, and compile that list of names and emails and phone numbers if you've got that, and then I can get that to Brittany. Can we do that at that time? Are you able to gather the information and bring it to that? Okay, that would be helpful, because then that way everyone just brings their suggestions to that meeting. So that said, can we do, it's long, but do you want to piggyback off of the patrons meeting and just do, and I really think we can get it done in like 45 minutes. So can we do that just right after the patrons meeting?
I can.
Okay.
As long as it's over by 2:30.
Yep, it will be. We're gonna get this done inside, I'm really thinking 45 minutes tops. So, but that will be our time to talk about, get it all done, and then voila, we've got our list, and all of that gets to Brittany, and we move forward with getting that letter out. So, okay. So at 1:30 on the 26th, we'll just for 45 minutes,
So,
get that done. So bring your names of artists and their email and phone number. Is that all you need, Brittany? Is their name, their email and phone number? I mean, the
I
media
just need
as
the
well.
sheet filled in.
I'll fill out the sheet.
Okay.
Okay.
Then that's what I need.
Okay.
So 11:30 to 2:30, you said?
And they're medium. You said medium.
1:30
Yes.
to 2:30.
Yes, 11:30 to 2:30, carve that time out. We'll be done by 2:15. Okay. And then that is all that we really need to talk about for our walk here, but we'll get that done on the 26th. The fall tea, there's, aside from the fact that the quick update is in the minutes of the retreat, we are going to pull in inviting patrons to the fall tea, and we'll want to have that catered. We'll talk more about that in the timing that's listed in the minutes, but At this point, we just are gonna, we don't need to do anything further right now. We're gonna, for the fall tea, we'll set a committee meeting in March to start to work on that a little bit more. So that concludes that for committee updates. About new business, now we have the AI process.
Yeah, the minutes that were formulated by AI for this first, well, for the January meeting, are included here towards the back of the packet. So this is, I made no changes to this. This is the formulation directly from AI, other than I added in the title AI generated, so we knew. And I highlighted the meeting date, which automatically didn't come out correctly. But this is just to show the prompts that I used were putting together formal meeting minutes. The first one, and concentrating on a summary and actions taken. The first output that it gave me was simpler than this, and so I asked for it to provide a little more detail. So this was kind of the second version with a bit more detail. You know, we can use different prompts, but I just wanted you to get a sense of this is what this looks like. So the process would be, we use the meeting directly. I go into YouTube, get a transcript of the meeting, put that into Copilot, which is the AI format that the city uses, or AI platform rather, and ask for meeting minutes, and then I would provide this, unedited from me to Cindy to go in and finalize, and then the rest of the process as we normally do from there, to share it with everybody for editing before the meeting. So that would be the process. This is the first example of, what the minutes could look like. This is absolutely appropriate for the city's requirements for minutes, a summary of actions taken, with a little more context provided, but that said, we can work with the prompts and see what we need to do. But we, boards are moving towards this within the city, and so we need to be moving towards this
Process.
in the way that,
Yeah.
works for us. So
Yeah.
we need to keep going down this path.
So Cindy would receive this, and then she would go through and make corrections,
Yeah,
like the date up here
yeah.
and spelling of names and
Is-
things
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, this, I made no edits to this. This is like exactly how it spit it out, other than the one additional prompt to provide a little more
But you read through it,
context. Nope,
so you don't read through it, you just pass it
I'm
along.
gonna pass it along to
Okay.
you as the secretary and then, after you have a draft that you feel good about, then we go through the normal process of us all being able to make edits before the meeting.
Okay.
How is it spelling your name right?
So I'm,
It's a really good question.
I think your spelling of Brittany is different than the.
so I
wonder
I
where
have
it
some,
gets this.
yeah, I have some thoughts.
Mine's IE
Yeah.
instead of just
Yeah,
That's, I
Y.
have some thoughts about this. I understand this is a very simple prompt that you put in. But this version is really very skeletal. It's also very dry. It doesn't capture or illustrate some important details. It lacks full names, titles, and even left
That's the
out
kind
two
of stuff that
attendees.
Cindy would
So
add.
what I might recommend if we're going to use this process, that you go as full scale as possible. Don't pare it down to this skeletal
I mean,
thing.
that would be
It
a whole
actually,
packet in and of itself, minutes for a 2-hour meeting. It would just.
well,
but-
And it picked up on some stuff that weren't in.
Yeah,
our other
yeah, we
minutes,
can
which
certainly
I thought
add
was
it.
interesting.
Yeah.
the weddings being 5 to 6 bookings confirmed and programs scheduled. Yeah, I've got that. Those were captured. That was interesting that those were captured. But I mean, even the outline itself is not correct. 3 should be 4.
Yeah, those are the
the-
things that we need a
it's
human to
all-
go back in and do.
So yeah,
It's
you're
just, it is
essentially
meaning, it's supposed to
recreating
be
the
helping,
wheel.
not
Yeah,
hurting.
helping, exactly. So just allow it to pull as much detail as, this might be a little bit of a test.
Yeah,
to
it
try.
needs some direction.
Yes, it needs some direction, but allow it to pull more detail. And then basically, you can take what is essentially an outline. It is a standard, it's the agenda even. And you're basically then just plugging in information as you're seeing, yeah, that's pertinent, that's an important piece to include. And you're just kind of copying and pasting, and you can do it that way so that you're not necessarily doing a whole lot of typing. But I do think that the human component is really lost in this. And so if someone were to say, oh, this will be your minutes, I would say that's deplorable. It's really unacceptable.
Well, we also
So-
need to keep in mind that
But
we
but
need to
look
be
at
moving
what,
towards simplified minutes in general, and that's been a challenge for this board.
I think we've gotten better.
So, yeah, and it doesn't need to be this, but we do still need to be continuing to simplify and making sure that our minutes are in action.
And we are, and we have.
Summary of actions taken.
And we have, and that is what you see. And even, and it's an example in the board retreat minutes, this is very comprehensive, yet concise.
It's
It got a
more
full
than what
day.
needs to be done for
It
the
got a
city's
full day
purposes,
of
since we
activity
have the
on one
video,
page.
but, yeah.
Okay.
Well, let's give
Keep
it a
in
go for the
mind-
next time and
yeah.
see what it looks like.
And keep
how
in mind
looks for
that
the secretary.
video has issues. It may not always.
There was an issue
capture.
one time, but
There's been more than one.
Well,
But that's okay. But
the
again, the
videos-
human component, we really need to keep that.
yeah, that's why, I mean, this isn't getting submitted as our minutes. We still
Right.
have, you know, work that needs to be done from the secretary for this process, and so, yeah. But this, you know, part of what's nice about this too is it'll help move towards continuing to simplify, to some extent appropriate,
Right.
our minutes.
How did you find the process with doing the retreat minutes?
And that was just the normal
Just the way it
process.
would be to do minutes in general.
Quite simple, quite streamlined, pretty easy, not complicated, not overwhelming.
Well, I mean, that was just the way, I mean, I don't think I was as brief as I maybe could have been, but I do feel like to paint the full picture sometimes you have to include some detail. Otherwise it's like, okay, they discussed the blah blah event, you know, I mean,
What does that tell anyone reading
you
that?
need a little more information, otherwise what's the use of having minutes?
Precisely.
Well, the minutes aren't meant to paint a full picture. The video is that, the minutes are meant to be a summary of actions taken.
The
So-
minutes are the
So some
documents.
context, of course, is needed in certain areas, but they're not meant to be the full picture of a meeting.
But I think this captured it perfectly. A full day, like that.
Can I ask, do you receive a transcript, a full transcript from the meeting?
From the video, yeah.
Okay. So can that be printed and kept where these things are kept in storage, whatever?
I mean, they need to be,
Along with the abbreviated version? So
for what?
when you go back to write a grant, for example, that full transcript of that entire meeting is there with all those details that you're desiring.
I mean, those videos are hosted online by the city and by YouTube, so that information's available if it needs to be pulled.
Someone shouldn't have to sit through a 2-hour or longer
Well, anybody can
Video
pull a transcript from
to
that.
just get details that they can read.
I just
in
meant the
a
transcript,
2-page.
the full transcript.
Right, but Brittany's saying anybody can pull a video and then ask for the transcript
Yeah.
of it,
That's
instead of
not-
us just storing.
Anybody
So
can
that
do
is
from
available.
YouTube.
The
For all that
process through the
detail.
city.
Yeah,
is-
should she need
it's
it
o-
for a
it's-
grant.
It's open documents, it's
Right.
sunshine law. So of course, anyone can access any of those documents. It's a process they have to go through to request it and then to finally receive it. For
You don't
this
need to record,
board,
you can just
in
go on
for-
YouTube and get it.
Okay.
Or on the city website. It's available without any special request.
But the people that really would be interested are sitting here in this room and would need the detail for other things.
Well,
And
future people.
if somebody else does, there's that option to get the full detail. So
Yeah, that's why the
That's
meetings
my-
are recorded.
2 cents.
Yeah. So it can be,
Back
there
to,
can be more context than what's here,
Yeah,
But-
I think a little bit more is desirable.
yeah.
but we can, you know,
And it's a work in progress. It's our first,
Yes.
we haven't
Yeah.
implemented this, so we need to find, and there's going to be different secretaries throughout the history of the board, so people handle things differently and manage their time differently, and what works really well for someone might be really cumbersome to another, so. I think we need to be thinking like evergreen for everybody moving forward and not just the people.
So what's the purpose of the agenda? I mean, not the agenda, the minutes, the purposes of it.
a summary of actions taken during a meeting so that people can, just like Karen said, refer to what went on without sitting through a 2-hour video of the meeting.
Okay. Right. I mean, the boards I've been on, the minutes, in my opinion, are for the use of the board members primarily.
That's one purpose, yeah.
Right. If it goes to the city, fine, but to me, the purpose of the minutes are for our use and our reference.
And future,
Oh,
future,
right.
just to refer back to what took place.
Right. So I think the very brief ones, I don't think really serve much of a purpose for us, for our board. Whereas the typical ones we've been doing, at least I'm aware of the last year or so, are a functional tool for the board to use as a working document, month to month.
Yeah, well, as board members sitting in on these meetings, we have more access to the information than anybody, but again, the video serves the purpose of having all of the details provided, and this is,
But you don't want to
meeting
sit in
minutes are
meeting
meant to be,
to then
meeting
have to
minutes,
review
according to
the
Robert's Rules of Orders, need to be a summary of actions taken. So we, there's been some compromise on this board to include more details, and that's fine, we can continue to do that to some extent. But this process, along with being in line with what other boards are moving towards throughout the city and being more efficient, can also help us to help streamline things to some extent.
And I think it's the person taking notes. I think we have to take that into consideration. I mean, I haven't been on the board a long time, but I've heard a lot about the minutes and a lot about the work it takes for the secretary to write verbatim and come up with a 4-page document of what we
It
talked
is.
about. I mean, we're already gonna go over time. We are over time, so I think we just need to find a sweet spot of how we can use technology to help us so that someone isn't trying to remember every single word and catch up on every single phrase or having to go back and watch a 3-hour video to capture everything that we said to then transcribe to a document. I just think that we are making a lot of work for some people, and I'm not even included in the work. So, I'm just trying to be conscientious of that, which we've talked about in multiple meetings of just in general. You guys meet a ton, you do a ton. We want people to want to be on this board. We want you guys to be on this board. So we want to be conscientious of what we're asking individuals doing. And on
Now you come up with that.
This is meant to be a tool
Now you
to
come up with it.
help with efficiency, so we need to think of it as a tool to help streamline processes and be more efficient.
I agree.
I think the process that was done with the board retreat minutes was excellent, with the exception of, I would have liked the rest of the board to have seen it in advance, but we just didn't have the time. But this is a full day.
Karen, we understand.
So
I
I'm
think
just
we need to
saying,
move
forward with this
with
process,
these
we just need to
things,
find a
so I
way
just
that
wanna-
it works for us. With this,
Yes, we
we're
will.
moving forward with
And
this
the
process.
will.
agenda for your retreat is very
Expand.
different than what we talk about in our board
Yeah.
meetings. Like, two
And that's
completely.
nothing like the monthly minutes that
Yeah, that
I have
was
been
meant to
doing
be
for the
focused
last
on.
year.
Yeah.
It's
We
an
appreciate
example,
what's
it's an
needed.
example of what we're striving to be more like, is concise but complete. So that it's not a question of, well, what was said.
Yeah, that's a
Yes.
one-off example. We're talking about the regular meetings.
Okay, so for this
Yeah.
process, if I could just request that you maybe when you go to do the prompts, can we talk through that a little bit to expand it so that it does not include the entire transcript, because that's not my intent. I don't want anyone to have to sit and look through an entire transcript, but I do want a lot more detail available for her to pick and choose and say, yep, that needs to, yep, that, oh, yeah, I remember that, and, my little something.
Well, she's
It'll
taking her own
simplify it. She does. She takes her own notes, and she does an excellent job as it is. just having something to not have to look back at the video and watch the video to fill in any gap that she might be like, I don't remember that. If she wanted to look at something that is written, that is, not full transcript,
we will
then she
give it
can
more
look back at it and
prompts
go, what
after
was
this
that?
video.
And then she can look
I'm
at
happy
it.
to sit with you while
Does that
we
help?
put some
Would
prompts
that
in
be
and see what
helpful?
we can come up with.
Okay.
Okay, she says that will be helpful. Let's do that.
We can entertain some different prompts
just
to try
gives
to get
her-
a more robust notes so that
Gives her
it's
something
not
to
as
reference.
skeletal as you said. So
Yeah, gives her something to reference and fill in the gap where she's thinking, oh yeah, what was that? Simplified. This is doable. So, okay, you comfortable with it?
Yeah.
Okay, great job, Sydney. All right, I think then we'll move on to the updated bid from staff.
No update. Reached back out to the museum a couple times and haven't heard, so I think we need to move forward with the other ideas that we had talked about, and at this point we can revisit those next month. Do you want to share about PEO, or do you want me to?
Sure, what?
About CJ, or do you want me to?
Oh, I'll share. Chapter CJ PEO won't be meeting here at Callahan House anymore. We average 27 to 35 people per meeting, and we're too big for the house. We love it here. Everybody's enjoyed it, but we've made the decision that starting in April we'll meet somewhere else, and so we're sorry. But
No, you're
we enjoyed the year that we were here. Oh.
Thank you. That's all I've got.
Okay. Any items from board members? Okay. All right, we'll move beyond future agenda items, leave them as they are. And it's 11:41. Do we have a motion to adjourn? I'll move we adjourn. Who will second? Julia will second. All in favor? All right, that is all of us. Thank you.